All right, folks, welcome back to From the Armory with Murph and Lassiter, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines Association, a Shutter Steve production. We are back with Murph and Lassiter.
Yep, we are back. We're back in beautiful Indiana. We are sitting in Mom's basement.
Sitting in Mom's basement.
Sitting in Mom's
the proverbial Mom's basement production.
For nothing else, at least we're drinking our own beer, but sitting in Mom's basement.
Well, actually, I stole this out of her fridge, too.
So we thought
I
about...
got this one from me.
So we took a look at the last podcast, and we thought about, usually we have like a whiteboard, we do scripted, that's what we're going to talk about. And then we realized, we had an epiphany, if you will, that our best shit is when we're just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
So it's just two guys. I mean, we've known each other 20 plus years, probably going.
Yep.
So we come to find out that when we're driving to go do an event, or to go get some chow or a beer or something like that our best stuff is when we're just sitting in the cab of the truck shooting the shit. So before we get into that, we'll kind of segue off of stuff. We'll try real hard not to derail each other, but
no
first
promises.
No promises. The first thing I want to do is like roll the clock back, go back, and before we get into stuff that we did this weekend, future stuff, talking about physical fitness, rucking, CrossFit, whatever you're in, anything having to do with, just making your life better or being a better person. I do want Murph to talk about what him and the association's vice president, Melissa Hanks, did a few weeks ago back in Indianapolis with the Frozen Chosen ruck. Mm-hmm. So go ahead, Murph, if you would. Tell us about how cool that was.
Oh, dude, it was a great time. It was a whole different crowd this time. We've done it prior in West Lafayette, the times that we've all done it, right?
Yeah.
And this time they tried to do it in West Lafayette, Indiana, and Indianapolis, Indiana. I think next year they're going to focus on one or the other. They're not going to do both, is what I was told. It just wasn't as strong a showing for either one when they tried to split it.
So more head count?
Just to get more head count in one location, I think.
What do they have? How many do they have? I know we talked about
I don't know how
Indy.
many West Lafayette had, but Indy had I think 12 or something like that, 13 maybe.
Which is
way less
not
than
terrible,
we had at West
but
Lafayette still.
It's.
And it was a really cool location. We met at Fort Benjamin Harrison. For anybody that's familiar with the area, that's where our local MEPS is in Indianapolis. That's where, I don't know why I'm drawing a picture of a square for MEPS on the table that you can't even see, but I'm doing it.
I see where the door's at.
I was like, see, the door's here. And but we're still going to go through the roof and clear from the top down.
Clear from the top down. I need my chem lights.
Yeah, they're MEPS dorks. We can take them. But so we've got that. We had man, it was a great time. It was most of the guys I think were from the same unit that came after us. They're the ones that relieved us in Fallujah, mm-hmm. And they had all kind of known each other from there. So they had a built-in kind of camaraderie. Oh yeah, one of the dudes was he was wall security. I think he was a reservist cannon cocker, wall security at Abu Ghraib prison when we were there. So when we were doing the security patrols, they were the guys on the wall.
Oh, so they were reservists then?
Yeah, he was a reservist, but I think they were cannon cockers, if I remember him telling us right. He didn't tell me what they did, but I think that's what Hertz told us.
I'm not more sure, and I don't want to just go.
No, I don't want to make something up because I don't want to do that to him. But it was, dude, great time. It was. We ended up going to Fort Benjamin Harrison's. I think it looked like an old military barracks of some sort, and they had a whole display set up. A historian there. Really cool time. He had as much Korean War paraphernalia as he could muster up, and if he didn't have it, he had pictures of it. He had a really cool display. I don't want to say it was spur of the moment, but he had a little bit of a heads up we were coming. But he laid the red carpet out for us, sat and talked to us he would have talked for hours, and we would have listened for hours if we'd had time, but we had a timeline, right? I went the night before through that snowstorm, got a smaller keg from Hog Molly. Humble Joe's donated the coffee, so I had to brew that the next morning. That was a catastrophe because if you know me...
tell us about that, how you end up brewing the coffee.
Well, somehow they messaged me and said, hey, you're bringing the coffee already brewed, right? And I was like, well, I don't know how that's going to work. I don't have a coffee maker at home. I've got, my press and my
press and
I can't make that much coffee at one time. And I had to make 2 air pots full of coffee, which are I want to say they're 2 regular 12-cup pots in each one, roughly.
Yeah. Are you talking about the ones like the stand-up that you find in the chow hall?
That you sit and pump? It's like you go somewhere and they have a little handle. It looks like just a thermos that has a built-in pump. So I had to make 2 of those the night before, or that morning. So I preheated them with water when I got up at 4 that morning. Came down here. I had to go to my buddy Jeremiah's house, get the AirPods, because he had got them from Justin. He let us borrow them, Humble Joe's. He let us borrow them. So I had to preheat those that morning. Came down to Mom's, used her coffee maker to make all this. Well, I put too much coffee because I'm not used to making coffee in a pot.
No, it's like single serving.
Way too much coffee in this thing. It was overflowing all over her counter. It was like, dude, a mess.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I made the right decision by not ever having a coffee pot. But anyway, we got the coffee up there. The guys loved it, and gals, they loved it too. Melissa, her bag had got lost. Ended up in Chicago, which is not where she was.
She was not there.
So that didn't do her any good. She had to buy a coat here, and we just had that freak like snowstorm come through the night before. So when I went to get the kegs that night, I had to drive through the snowstorm, and I was messaging Hertz actually on the way. Got the beer, took it up there. She had to buy a coat, like I said, that night or that something from before the hotel. Geez, what else?
Yeah, she was wearing leggings, tennis shoes,
Yeah,
and a
in
brand new
snow
coat.
with like ankle socks. So she had like that much of her ankle exposed walking through the snow. I'm like, you've got to be cold.
Yeah, you were telling me that, and I go, well, she's
Yeah.
she's woodpecker lips hard.
Yeah, again, it's not frozen chosen cold, but it's cold.
It's kind of weird because I didn't get a chance to. I forget what I was
were
doing.
doing a race of some
I
sort
was
or
doing
something.
some type of idiotic thing that I like to get myself involved in, and hate it halfway through, and then feel better about it and sign up for the next one afterwards.
Yeah.
But it seems like every time that they have that event, you get some type of snow. So I remember the first
Which is
time we
good.
went it was like a 3-foot bank.
Yeah.
And we did that was great.
Yeah.
So, and of course the association was behind that as well.
Oh yeah.
So you did all this, and you had how many speakers did you have? Just the one?
As far as you mean for like
Did you have any
guest speakers? No, we only had the one. We met up there, did his whole thing, got to do a tour of that area. Really cool. He gave us some history on it. Really great gentleman. I can't remember his name, unfortunately. But that whole area, if you're there with your kids, they do like historical presentations. Mm-hmm. Like they have their own armory full of weapons that they can pull from. And I don't know if they're all defunct or if some of them are operational. I don't know. But they'll pull them out. They'll have, they had BARs from the Korean War era. And they had all kinds of stuff. It was just so cool. It was like, man, he had a 1919 that he was like, this was in Korea. I mean, just really cool stuff. I mean, just uniforms. And like I said, he said if he doesn't have it, he has pictures of it that he can show you. And if you wanted to know anything, even down to like what the parkas were filled with, the Chinese issued parkas and the North Korean parkas versus what ours were filled with. He knew stuff like that. I was like, dude, this.
Did he happen to mention it's different than ours? Is kind of like a down material.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming back then, I mean, it's like stuffing. I don't know.
It was a husk of some sort, but I can't remember what he said it was. But
I know it wasn't goose feather.
No.
So
no, it was. But it was so cool, man. It was a good time. Then we rallied up the local VFW there, right outside the gates of Fort Bend. They had, I can't remember what post it was, like 774 maybe.
And see, that's the thing, and not to derail, like a lot of times we'll get on here and like, I can tell you that after, roughly 21 years, over 21 years of military service, it's like, just because I can't remember something doesn't mean that I don't respect it. It's just, I've taken multiple headshots.
Well,
it's like I cannot remember.
It's also, I need like functional information to carry on the mission.
Yeah.
And I'm giving you the information. If you want to know it, I can look it up and get it to you, but it's not pertinent to my conversation.
I just want to make sure some of our
I'm going to get you
our
the point.
listeners know that we don't. It's not because we don't want it. And at one time we did know it and we had it written down. But a lot of times, I'll look. It's like I'm going to the grocery store. I have this, that, and the other thing in my head, and as I get there, I have forgotten that and the other thing, but I remember this, so I got to call my wife and remember. It's like, you should make a list. I said, I can't find it.
Yeah.
So just the one guest speaker.
Yep.
And
went to the VFW.
Really cool.
Hung out there for a little bit. Got to actually have some sit down cool time with Hanks and her daughter, little Hanks, Micaiah.
How did she do?
They both did really well. I brought her my plate carrier to carry because she didn't have her stuff either, right? So she didn't have her ruck. So I let her borrow my 511 plate carrier that I use for working out. Melissa borrowed a ruck and a weight plate. I'm trying to think of what else we had. I don't know. I took all kind of gear because I didn't know what everybody's level of readiness was going to be like.
Well,
so
had everything.
I've got everything. I brought sandbags just in case somebody wanted to carry that. I mean, you never know.
Well, you had the beer and you had the coffee and you had the plate carrier. Good thing you showed up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, I'm probably not going to be the guy with everything next year, but I'll help out when I can.
At least they know, you know what, you planted the seeds of what you need to bring next year.
Well, and yeah, that's what they said too. It's like, hey, I've never done one of these, so help me plan it. And they showed up with all the snacks. It was just a great time. We had a lot of fun.
Well, other than Warrior Union Foundation and 3-1, of course, supporting that entity, or did any local businesses, jump in to help out? Or because I think, what was that place in West Lafayette that let us use their parking lot for a staging area? That's where we did like the roll call and everything. But anyway,
I don't know.
Regardless of the name, is like, did any local businesses that we should give a shout out to? That
they're, like I said, they're
other than
VFW.
Hog Molly, of course, and
their VFW that's up there gave us. I don't know if they gave it to us or we rented it, but we ended up with like an hour to 2 hours of basically open bar time.
Did they have any veterans there? I mean, for
dude,
every area.
Their president was, I don't know if he's called the president or the chapter.
Commandant.
Is that what it is?
I think VFW is a commandant, yeah.
Okay, so he was there, really cool gentleman, sat and spoke to him for a while. Just really, really cool, great time. I ended up making a cup of coffee, of course, at the bar because there's a picture.
You didn't have enough runoff on the counter to...
No, well, Melissa wanted an actual cup of coffee, and we were talking about it. I said, I'll make you one. So I went and got my stuff, came in, the VFW hooked me up with like hot water, and I was making it. And of course, that drew like a small crowd. They wanted to know what the hell I was doing making coffee at a bar. But it was fun, man. It was just a really great time, and then we all went our separate ways, and it was great.
As far as for those that don't know, I know that there's a lot of us do know that Murph makes the best cup of, and he will do it in any. The Marines motto is that any climb in place is like any climb in place, you are going to get a good. He will sacrifice his parka, or he won't sacrifice his cleaning gear. But he'll sacrifice gear to make sure that he can get a good cup of coffee regardless of the location, which is amazing. That's usually when I stay at Murph's house, that's my alarm clock in the morning, is I hear the grinder going and I hear everything. It's like, but usually, actually, in all honesty, my alarm clock is you opening the door and letting Violet out.
Yeah, because your head's right by the door.
It's like,
so
I guess it's time to get up now.
You don't have a whole lot of covering up there.
It's like, you don't need an alarm. I don't have any covering.
She goes
up
out,
there.
you're up.
I'm up. It's like he comes flying out. I was like, I'm right here. Just go ahead. He opens the door. He has little bells, like
they're sleigh bells.
Yeah, sleigh bells on his door, just to let people know that's coming in, which is great when you live in the country.
One of the guys I worked with actually gave me that tip when I first got Violet. He said, you're going to have a dog that is going to need to go out a lot. You need to hook sleigh bells onto the door handle. Mm-hmm. And every time you go out, kick those bells, let them know you're going out, and make sure she sees you do it. And she'll tie that as hey, this is what I do to go out. I'm like, dude, okay, sure. It took her like 3 times of seeing me doing that before she just like picked up on it. And now she goes up and noses those bells like, hey, got to go out.
Now, see, that's what I love what we're doing right now, is through shooting the shit. I just realized, because I just got 2 new puppies.
Yeah,
and we're trying to figure out how to, and Leslie was saying, we need bells. And I didn't know what she was talking about.
Order them off Amazon,
now,
like anything.
On the way home today, I will get on Amazon and order a strand of sleigh bells.
And where you're at, you'll have them there by the end of the day.
Yeah, I can probably get
a
the same
2-hour
day.
delivery at your place?
It depends on, because Amazon does the same day if it's like $25 or something like that. And it's like, okay, you're at $19. What else do you want? And I go, I don't fucking want anything else. It's like, so I'll wait. I do have the Prime, so I'll get it the next day, I guess, or 2 days. But yeah, that's I definitely need to do that.
Yeah.
So anything else you can think of as far as is, because that's hopefully next year. Well, next year I'll make, because just like anything else, if I don't book out a year in advance, I think the biggest thing to be helpful is to know exactly what day they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing I did take away from a couple of conversations I've had with you is that it would be great if it was just one location. I don't know if West Lafayette's the location or the location is Indianapolis, but if you want to get max head count and participation, the thing about it is when you make a virtual event, is people will virtually do it. If I sign up and you send me, just like in a virtual race, if I sign up and pay whatever, $25-$30, you send me a medal, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't need to. Team RWB is notorious for that. Is like, it's not about a money grab or anything like that. It's like, we actually want you to physically get out. So instead of making it such make it virtual, but don't make it virtual in 2 cities. Do it if you're going to do a live and color one, do it in one area.
Well, WRF will tell you too that they don't make any money on that event. In fact, they almost lose money on it. But it's really more of an awareness thing, kind of doing a service to the Korean War vets because, again, we talked about it before, that's the forgotten war. So they're trying to bring awareness to that. And if they lose money doing that, that's fine, as long as it brings awareness to those guys that are still with us and the ones that aren't and what they did. Like I said, really cool event. A lot of guys there that were just with us just happened to know a lot of stuff about it because, most of us, just because we were in the military, are kind of minor military historians to a certain degree. You want to know where you came from. You got to be a student of history to know what not to fuck up next, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So very cool. Like it's, that's hopefully next year that I'll be able to make it, and it sounds like it's something that that's going to roll on forever. And I encourage everyone to get it. It don't have to do an event. I'm sure WRF has areas where you can make donations.
Oh yeah, you can always make a donation on there, and I think it's Warrior Reunion Foundation. I think .org, if I remember right.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll put these links, once we verify all the links that are legit, we'll put those in the comment section of the YouTube. So instead of Steve having to, find links, or Melissa, who does, I guess, final editing and posting, we'll just put them in the comment section. You can find them there. It'd be a lot easier.
Well, and that helps engagement too, right? If we post them, somebody can comment on it, and it keeps it going. And we got a decent number of views, I think, on the last one. I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, and I actually learned that little piece of information from one of the other podcasts I listened to. It's a trail running podcast, and they said, it has like an information section. We'll put it in the comments section, that type of stuff. It's like, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that too.
Yeah.
So nothing coming up as far as what we know with Warrior Union Foundation. However, we did do some stupid shit this weekend.
I do stupid shit every day I wake up.
But it was fun. Myself and Murph did 14 miles in what's called the OPSF, Owen Putnam County. Basically, it's
what the 50-50 was. Was it 50
I think
mile, 50K? Is that
50
what
miles, 50K, but they also have a 14 mile.
Yeah.
And I can just tell you honestly, is like 14 miles was plenty for
I will
that
never
course.
do a 50 mile or 50K.
So we say that stuff all the time. But I think I can honestly say is, after I finished up yesterday, I was like, I don't see how they did 50K or 50 miles. But that course is legit.
Watching Mom's dog try to get up the stairs. I think her leg's asleep, and she's trying to. She's soldiering forward.
Yep, she's pushing forward.
Which
reminds me of probably what we looked like yesterday.
That's exactly what I looked like this morning. So my house is, for those that don't know and those that'll never visit, because you're not welcome there. I got a 2-story house, and everything of real value is upstairs except for the sleeping area. That's all downstairs. So you have to go upstairs to get to the kitchen in the morning to get coffee. Yeah, and then when you get your coffee, you have to go back downstairs to your sleeping area to get ready, right? And it was like, man, I was stoved up. I looked like Mom's dog over there for sure.
I'll probably get home today and do
not cute.
Either a shakedown ruck or a shakedown run, but nothing longer than 3 miles, just to get everything out so I'm not so sore.
I'll probably do it before bed tonight. I'm gonna take the dog to the brewery later and get a beer and let her show off her local celebrityness, and then I'll come home after I get my daughter, and I'll do a ruck.
Again, that's at Hog Molly.
Hog Molly Brewing, which is not this beer.
No.
This is Pottsville, Pennsylvania's finest.
That tasted probably the one beer we actually agree on.
The one beer we agree on. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so we were talking about whatever we were talking about, the house and the trail race.
The trail race in the house and its challenges that.
So that was kind of your baby. You're the one that invited me to that. So
I kind of got you into that kind of stuff because a couple months back, I think it was last June July timeframe, I had hurt myself in a Go Ruck event.
Yep.
I just aggravated an already existing injury. So there's a fine line between hard and stupid. So long story short, I just kind of switched gears. I wanted to stay active. I wanted to be outside. I love the outdoors. Encourage everybody to get involved in it, one way or the other. Even if it's just hiking or just, taking time to go for a walk with your loved one or take a dog for a walk.
Did you just point at me as the loved one?
No, I pointed at Steve.
Good.
So,
because I was worried. It's like, I'm not doing any more trail races with you.
So yeah, it's well, you're family.
Yeah.
But so I kind of switch here. So I've been looking at trail running for a while. I don't necessarily enjoy the thought of running. I enjoy the chemical release after I've run. So for me, it's and of course, anytime if I'm in Indiana, we got to shoot a podcast. It's like, let's do something fun, and fun air quotation marks, and then it gives us something to talk, gives us some content, and also gives us ideas for the podcast when we're driving. Yesterday was an hour and 12 minutes to drive to the event.
Yeah, we drove that drive 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times,
right.
And stopped at the same.
Pick up the night before the packet, and driving back with our packets, and the next morning to the race and from.
Which, in hindsight, maybe was not necessary based on what I saw for the parking situation, but it was still fun. So
yeah, it was good. I like to. Anytime I've ever been invited to like give a speech or something I like to go get the lay of the land first, right? Just walk the battlefield before you actually do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like go check it out. So we got to go over there and see the area we'd be operating in, come back the next day and do the race. We actually had a sort of familiarity with it.
yeah, and that was, and again, it gave us an opportunity just to shoot the shit as opposed to just sitting on the couch shooting the shit. And so,
Yeah.
and I didn't mind. One of us drives anyway. I drove up from Tennessee. I was still good to go to drive. Murph had just gotten off work, so we drove up there and checked everything out, and actually stopped at Civilian. I don't know why I want to call it.
Civilian Brewing Corporation, Civilian Brewing Company.
I keep wanting to call it Civilian Corps because it reminds me of like the CCCs.
Well, that's what it was designed. It was after
Yeah.
the Civilian Conservation Corps.
Yeah.
That's what it was based upon.
So
that built a lot of that area out there. So it's really pretty cool. It's a really pretty cool area, beautiful area.
Which is
Lots
a lot of
trails,
campgrounds too.
very muddy because it's also a horse area. And anybody that's familiar with hiking,
there was
where
horse
horses
shit
are allowed.
everywhere.
Well, not just that, but anybody that's familiar with hiking around horses, you're going to get all those mud hole
Churned
stompings
up.
where they churned up. And man, there was plenty of that. And I told my dad this morning, I said it made 0 sense. It wasn't just low areas or shady areas. It was hillsides. You'd just be cruising and getting a good gallop, and then all of a sudden be like, boom, mud hole, swamp of sadness, and you're like fighting your way through it. And I was like, dude,
Exactly. At one point, at first, just like anything else, you're trying to keep your feet dry, but
Oh,
by
I
the
gave
time
up
you
on
get
that about mile
it's like
one.
I'm just plowing through it.
yep. I was like,
I'm
this
just
is how
glad.
this race is going to be. And when I say a race, we're doing a trail run to me because I'm not racing anybody. I'm not out there. to
No,
compete
you're racing
because-
yourself. It's like,
Yeah, I just want to finish it. And then when you get about halfway through, you really just want to finish it.
it's like, where is the finish?
And then there's dudes doing 50 milers and 50 Ks. And you're like, that whole, like, it could always be worse. That's legit. These dudes looked like death warmed over, some of them.
Yeah, because they have to diet right. They have to, get the right sleep. They weigh like maybe 114 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I like crappy food too much. So
Yeah, I like beer.
So yeah, exactly. So when I say physical fitness is like
Right.
just maintain a level of healthiness that is comfortable for yourself. So if it's nothing else, it's just getting off the couch. But if you set a goal for 14 miles and the idea is that I'm going to finish 14 miles, then you had a good day. You got a finisher. If you got a finisher's medal in most events, then you've earned the finisher
And
medal.
those were sweet finisher medals.
Yeah. Oh,
Somebody
no.
had made them out of, do you have yours?
Porcelain, no.
It was like pottery.
Pottery?
Somebody had done glazed pottery and they were simple. I think it just said OP 5050 and I think it had a date on it, you said maybe, or a
Yeah, it was
number.
like 2 numbers I didn't
I
understand.
don't know what that
they were.
was, but they were really cool. They were just like a glazed pottery really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
any of them I got memories tied to, but that's a really cool one.
We'll research that and find out what it is. No, we won't.
Yeah,
It's like,
maybe,
I don't
maybe.
care. I'm going to hang it up on the hook and just call it good.
But when
So,
you're talking about that, one of the things I like about trail running, and I'm not the guy that wants to get up and run.
I am
but I do it.
fucking amazed that because you hate running. I'm amazed
Yeah.
how fast you became a trail runner, and you are. And we talked about
Yeah.
we'll talk about like what you consider who is or who's not an athlete, but you are a trail runner. How did
All right,
that,
I'm
how did that
I'm a
fucking
closeted
happen?
trail runner.
How did that fucking happen?
Well, because my road that I run on I only run like 2 to 3 miles at a time. That's it. And that's what I told that one lady yesterday. She's like, "Oh, what are you running?" I said, 14 miler. "Oh, where do you usually race or train?" And I was like, and I think the guy at the end asked me the same thing. I said, "My road."
I heard that one.
And yeah, he was like, "Where at?" And I was like, "On my road." He's like, "Your road?" I said, "Well, it's a gravel road, and it's very hilly. You know, it's a straight shot up and down, though." I said, "But man, I run on that, and that's why I keep telling my daughter, she runs track. I'm like, if you can run that gravel road and put out a decent time, you'll hit that flat track and fly. Like, you know, always train harder than you plan to fight. You know, dude, it's I don't know how I decided, because I liked hiking, and there was a trail runner one time when I was actually making a cup of coffee in the woods.
No shit.
And there I was, no
shit.
minding my own business, making coffee. And this chick comes cruising through the woods. I'm like, man, I never thought about running the trails in the woods. And I mean, it's just not something on my radar. This was years ago. And I thought it was kind of cool, but I was like, man, again, though, it's running. Fuck that. And I just ignored it. And then when you needed something to do, and it was like, hey, what do you got trail running? I'm like, man, it'd been churning back there, just in the back of my mind. Like,
It was actually pretty fucking easy to get you to.
It wasn't hard. Yeah, I hate that it wasn't that hard to get me talked into it.
And usually it's like, nah, and it is like, or at least you'll eventually gravitate to it.
Yeah.
But it takes like what I call Murphisms.
Yeah.
You will Murphism.
I'm gonna be the stubborn mule.
Yeah.
That's fighting
Kicking
you on
and
the way
dragging.
to do it. Nope. And then you do it. And you're like, well, you did that pretty well. Like, I didn't say I couldn't do it.
But
I didn't like it.
It's awesome. We both bitch and
Yeah,
piss and moan
yeah.
in the morning. They're like, oh, God, it's cold.
Yeah.
It's raining. It's freaking 6 o'clock in the morning. What the hell are we doing?
Oh,
and then
yeah.
when we're finished, we're like, again, it's that, I don't know, I'm sure studies have been, I know for a fact that studies have been, made about the chemical, the endorphins, the
Yeah.
even the chemicals that are associated with mother's breastfeeding. I'll let you guys research that on your own.
yeah.
It's that, like, that family atmosphere or afterwards, because the people we meet them for the first time, they act like they know you forever. It's
Yeah, dude.
It's
yeah.
like, because we were waiting for the bus yesterday, and these guys were just personable as hell. Hey,
Yeah.
great job. And that's the one thing, like, on the trail. Like, if you run a marathon on the hardball or asphalt, it's like people hardly say shit. They're concerned. They're watching their
Well,
watch.
most of them have their earbuds in.
Yeah.
They're tuned out.
They're
got
like
blinders
doing their
on.
pulse. They're
Yeah.
wearing their freaking damn
Fucking dorks.
dorks. So hopefully, Steve, if you're a marathon runner, nothing but love.
I don't think.
But going back, it's just an awesome thing. It's like, and so is, if you just want to walk, rucking is an awesome thing. Just put some weight on your back, find a mark, grab your dog, head outside.
Yeah.
But
My
again-
dog loves to ruck.
But again, I was amazed that not only did you gravitate to it, you have a good time. So
I do, man. I hate it. Like I said, I'm a closeted runner, trail runner, but I do enjoy it. I actually, if I can't sleep lately, and I'm like, you can lay there in bed, and I can know what I'm going to do. If I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm used to waking up at 5 or 4:30, I can go, well, I can lay here and start playing on my phone, and the regret that I didn't get up in an hour when I'm still playing on my phone and do something productive, or I can just fight through it, grab my damn shoes, go out and run, get some miles in, and feel better about getting up early and doing something. Even if I don't want to do it, I can do it, and I feel better about it. And, like, it's funny because I don't want to give anything to Goggins, but, people always talk about him talking about staring at those damn shoes. And he's not wrong. I mean, that's 100% right. Like, when they say, well, you guys go out there and do it, I wish I could do that. Yeah, you can. Because if I can do it, you can do it.
my sister-in-law actually asked me, he's like, how do you do it? It's like, I said, so what do you find? It's like, I said, just get dressed.
Yeah.
Get dressed. It's all right. Come home from work, change out of your work gear. And if you're wearing jeans, t-shirt, whatever, or uniform, whatever, it's like getting dressed. It's like, put on your shorts, t-shirt, grab your shoes, walk out the front door. I think for me anyway, and it depends, everybody's idea or thought process, it depends on how they feel for the day. But it's like, you can be in a great mood, you can be in a bad mood. But I guarantee you that if you do something, be active outside, that you will be at least in a better mood that you were in. It's get dressed.
Well, there's also that, like, old Irish saying of, you can't plow a field by just turning it over in your mind. Get up and do it. Right?
And that should be on a t-shirt.
It probably is somewhere. I read it years ago, and it stuck with me, because I'm like, you can sit and talk about it. You write all your plans down, but you just got to, at some point, put the rubber to the road and fucking do it.
I came up with a good one
And-
yesterday, which was no great story began with I was sitting on the couch.
Yeah, I heard that one peripherally. I heard you telling.
Well, you were
somebody,
talking to the
and I
guy from
heard it. Yeah, I was
Texas.
talking to the guy from Texas,
And the
Florida.
the lady liked it. She was another
Yeah.
fellow runner, and I told her I don't need any. I just want a free T-shirt.
Yeah.
Or something having
Dude,
to
it
do
was-
with being on the couch. Never began. I'm sure people will sit there and
We were
pick
talking
it
about
apart.
lapping the guy on the couch.
Yeah,
you're
lapping
always
the guy.
faster than the guy on the couch. No matter
Always
what you're
fast.
doing, you're faster than the guy on the couch. And that's the important thing to remember is, again, you could say, man, I could never run that fast. You don't have to run that fast. Just run. Walk it. Who cares?
And don't think that we're sitting here saying, hey, it's the greatest thing ever, because we also talk about CrossFitter. I'm a CrossFitter. How do you know it's a CrossFitter? We go, you're not a CrossFitter. You haven't told me 14 times
Yeah.
since.
Well, and that's what we were talking about, right? Like, that's what I was saying about the Goggins thing. Like, I hate to give it to him, but he's not wrong, because he says he stares at those damn shoes all the time. And we do it when we get up in the morning.
Who hates
'Cause
running, evidently, if you ask
Yeah,
him.
you're in the room right outside of my bedroom in that cot, and we'll both go, this is fucking stupid. And we're talking to each other from opposite sides of the room. It's like stepbrothers. We're talking shit about how dumb we are for doing this thing that one of us talked each other into. And then we still get up and do it. And then we're like, we'll look at like that day we ran Tame the Terrain. God rest its soul, that thing's gone. But we did Tame the Terrain. It was like piss and rain all night, flooding. They closed most of the course. They rerouted us out of the creek that became a river. I mean, all kind of stuff. But they
Which was still
had
a
it.
river when we got in.
Yeah, but we were like, dude, this is so stupid. Why do we do this? They're going to cancel this. Just wait. We kept checking the phone. We're like, nope, I guess we're going. And then we went, and we had a great time.
We had a better time than the guy's house with the barn fire.
Oh, the barn fire that we drove by? Yeah, that poor bastard.
Whatever day we're about to have is better than his.
Anyway, I don't know what kind of time we got here, but we got to keep moving.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a great time, man. I mean, honestly, if you don't like to run, start following or get with your local trail running community. I'm sure you've got one somewhere. Really cool, welcoming people. Really cool community. I mean, I was surprised at how awesome they were. Like, I mean, they all like to have a beer after the race. We found out we could have had one yesterday, and we didn't, which surprised me.
Yeah,
we didn't go ahead and just do it.
Because I thought the
but
bus was going to leave it too.
But man, I was cramping up, and we were cold, and it was like, yeah, this is bullshit. Let's go.
Steve, how are we doing on time?
30 minutes.
We're at.
Oh, well, that's not bad.
32 minutes.
I'm surprised. I thought it was a lot more than that. Okay.
No. Well, that means we got time to go into.
Steve, the producer, everybody.
Yep.
All right.
Turn the camera around.
Young Jamie over there. Yeah, what else we got?
Was that
We
Blair?
had-
Do a Blair Witch. Cool. And we're back. Yeah, we had to take a quick pause. Technical difficulties as usual with a Mom's Basement podcast.
Not because of Steve, just because of the environment, maybe.
However, I do remember what I was talking about. So Murph, on where I was at was, I know you had just finished a trip with Tim Galloway from GoodWorks to South Carolina, which was, tell us about that.
So if you don't follow GoodWorks, fix yourself, you should. But it's Works with an E. He did like a whole veterans, well, it wasn't just a veterans, he does these raffles, his boogie bags, that you know them as fanny packs. They're really hard to come by, and for very good reason. They're amazingly well built. I mean, this isn't a commercial for GoodWorks, but I have to tell you all this stuff to get you to where I'm getting ready to take you. And he did this raffle, like, hey, buy these chances for this, and the money's actually going to go towards, and he gets all these companies to put in on it. It's not just his stuff. But we're going to raise money to get veterans tested for their hormone levels. So they'll do the blood work, and he basically got CorMed, which is a hormone replacement therapy company, to say, hey, if you get, say, whatever, he got 25 money enough for 25 veterans to be tested. They said, we'll match it. We'll do 25 more, and there's still some on the table. So if you need to get tested, get a hold of me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and I can put you in touch with Tim, and he will get you tested. And then the lucky winner won like free hormone replacement therapy for a year. If you were deficient in anything, they would cover it for a year. And Tim got invited down because of his relationship with this company. He got invited down to their military appreciation weekend. I think it was their 3rd annual, and it's down in Beaufort, South Carolina. And he said, hey, Tim, having never served, but with a huge admiration for the military and the community there, he said, I don't feel right going with, just being like a sponsor. Would you be interested in going with me? I said, yeah, man. So I went as his +1. obviously didn't have to work for it.
Yeah.
I just got to benefit from it.
Well, you're also a veteran, so by default.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I didn't have to do anything weird.
Yeah.
So, man,
That's a different kind of podcast.
CorMed paid for the hotel. They paid for all the meals. If you were shooting, they paid for the ammo. A lot of great people were there, and I'm not going to leave anybody out by, on purpose or anything. But there were just, if they're a veteran and they're on Instagram, chances are they were there. Just a great time. I mean, so damn fun. I met people that I've followed for years. I've made a lot of good connections just in general. I mean, heard a lot of awesome stories from people that were just everyday veterans like you or I, and you would just hear some of the struggles they went through and be like, damn, dude, like either I've got it way better or holy shit, somebody just like me.
Yeah,
It was just amazing.
Other than the hormone testing, did they have anything as far as like skill set training? Because I know you mentioned shooting. Did they have?
Cody Alford, Defy the Norm, or We Defy the Norm. I can't remember what it is. I think he's changed it once. He did a pistol course, which I wasn't there for. I went out to another location to do something else. They had coyote hunting. Which kind of helped out their area, get rid of their coyotes.
It keeps down the population.
Got you out doing something. That was cool. And they supply all the firearms. Like if you don't have something, they've got it, man. It's there. It's cool.
Well, for what you were telling me, it was well
Dude,
funded.
it was hospitality wise so damn amazing.
It was what as far as
it's
gear.
one of those things like when you're there, you're like, I'm thankful for this, but I also want to be in a position where I can pay it forward like this one day too. Anytime I've ever been in a situation like that, I've thought, man, I want to be able to give back the way these guys do. That's cool. But yeah, they had a stop the bleed course. They had a situational awareness course. Again, my memory sucks, so I'm not going to remember any of these names. I want to say it's Jason Redmond. He was the Navy SEAL that was ambushed. Mm-hmm. If I got his name wrong, I'm sorry. Dude, there was a guy that got up and spoke about alcoholism and how it wrecked his life. Kind of made me think a little bit more about. Yeah, I know. I was like sitting there thinking, kind of made me think more about, my relationship with alcohol. And it did, and it does. It's still there in my mind, and it rang true, and I do hope to fix some of that.
I'm going to fix this one for sure.
Yeah. But not to the point.
To the bottom.
He was, damn it, I told you, Byron Rogers. He was there.
And the gear, they had freaking shitloads. You were telling me like really good gear, like everything from.
Oh yeah, if you borrowed something, you weren't borrowing like some bottom of the barrel rifle. I mean, you were getting good stuff to go out and do whatever they were getting ready to have you do. I mean, it was fun. It was like I said, the Stop the Bleed course was cool. It was an SF medic that was there. He taught the course. Probably gave people more information than they needed, most of them, but really damn good information.
Well, a lot of times when you go to these events is like they want to, they play it down, I guess break it down Barney style. They don't know who they're talking to, so they give as much information as possible. Yeah. You have that as long, with, what's accompanied with what I call spontaneous utterance or diarrhea of the mouth. Yeah. You just can't, I'm so passionate about it, I can't shut up. Yeah. So I can understand that.
I don't think he did that so much, but he's used to talking to dudes that need this shit every day, not just the average guy on the street that only needs so much. So he was giving you stuff that most people probably didn't need, but they could still benefit from. They didn't know they needed it.
Yeah.
And most of them probably forgot a lot of it. Dude, it was the guy that took down Pablo Escobar. He was there. He gave a big speech one night because they do kind of you'll do activities throughout the day, and then you have dinner, and then while you're having dinner, they'll have some guest speakers come up. Really awesome. I think Tim is working on trying to get some other veterans there next year, get them fully covered, and I think he's going to work with CorMed to do that. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in going. It was in...
Oh, I'm interested in going.
Was it? Yeah,
especially
like
South Carolina. That's close to home. So
yeah, but it was a damn good time. Again, met a lot of people that I've followed for a while on Instagram. Actually, going with one of those people down to Alabama to an SE course next month. Parent-child survival course. That'll be fun. And then, man, it was a great time. It was one of those like you're doing it and you're like, this is surreal that I'm doing something like this.
So yeah, you already answered
because I signed a check years ago and did something.
You pay the rent.
Basically. No, but you pay the rent. What I mean? Like when people say, "Oh, thank you for your service." No, I did this for me. I wanted to have fun, shoot shit, blow stuff up. But
Which is why you joined the
Thanks.
Marines in the first place.
That's why you joined the Marines
It's like
instead of
why,
another branch.
this is why I left the Air Force, is like, and joined the Marines. That was,
Yeah.
I was just not blowing enough shit up.
Yeah, and it was
So,
super fun.
yeah, I was in fire protection in the Air Force, so which means if something was on fire, I had to go put it out. I don't want to do that.
And if you,
it's like I
if
want
you go
to
to the Marine Corps, you got to put stuff on fire on Libo.
I want to put stuff on fire. It's like I want
You
to.
wanna be the guy that
I want to
starts
be
the
the
fire.
cause. It's like I don't want to be the.
you want to make Firewatch actually work.
Yeah, I don't want
Yeah.
to be the cause. I don't want to be the cure. I want to be the cause. So, and I was going to ask you, and I actually heard you say it earlier. It's like, so it's an annual event going. How long have they been around?
I think it's been 3 years they've done this. It's changed locations a couple times. Met another organization while I was out there called OpFob. They were also in South Carolina, not too far away. Had a great time with those guys. I won't disclose too much information on that until I actually go out there and check them out a little more.
No pictures.
But they were great. They were fucking awesome people too, doing great things, and they're all internally funded. It's not like, any kind of government funding. They're doing it themselves.
Yeah.
But I'll go on further about them on a later podcast for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely go that. And with that being said, it's like, a lot of great things. Definitely an annual event. I'm absolutely positively interested. But again, this is like, like with any other event, I like to schedule at least months out. When I say, well, how many months, is like months out. So I don't double book anything. So that's how I commit to myself personally is when I see something hit the pipeline, is I go ahead and sign up. So now I've paid for it. Now I got to train for it. I've committed to it. So So cool. A lot of cool stuff coming up, and we'll talk about that. I know you got a trip coming up, and I mentioned earlier a couple races coming up. And in May, I'll be back in Indiana. We're doing another race.
Which one? That's okay. So that's the weekend after I get back from Montana.
Yeah.
So I'll go to Montana the weekend prior, which that trip just got scheduled last night. Then the week after, you'll be doing that, and then I've got November, December. I'm going to Hawaii.
For young Marines.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but you can't drive to Hawaii, so I'm really
I think I
looking
told you
forward to
that, and you were
fucking
very
trip.
upset with me.
I'm not happy
When
about
I
that
told you
trip.
you could not, that you had
Yeah.
to fly to Hawaii, you didn't talk to me for 3 days.
Yeah, I didn't realize logistically that Hawaii is an island that you cannot drive to.
That is a documented fact.
That's not true, actually. But yeah, I mean, it is an island you cannot drive to, but it wasn't true that I didn't know that.
Unless you drive a boat.
You can get.
We'll save that for another. We'll save that for another podcast.
I don't know if I trust one of those though.
So with that being said, I think we'll go ahead. Before we wrap up, though, I just want to tell people again, get outside, stay involved, always hit like and subscribe, tell a friend. But the biggest thing I want to tell people is if you know of somebody, we're looking to do. We'd love to have people on the show from the Korean War and the Vietnam era. So if you have somebody, if one of our listeners is actually somebody that's interested in being on the show, just hit it up in the comment section or reach out to Melissa Hanks direct on the 3-1 Association group page, and we'll see if we can make that happen. I mean, we love having people on here to talk about not necessarily like-minded shit, but just talk about anything. As you've seen by today's episode, we were talking about everything. What hopefully the end result is engaging each other as a community, getting outside, staying physically fit, being a better person, hopefully, and giving back to your community. I think that's all. And again, if you're a listener and you were from any era, but Vietnam, Korea, Desert Storm, and you want to be on the show, just hit up Melissa Hanks.
Yeah.
Who is our VP of the association, but also our executive producer.
And I guess I should say, if you've made it this far, you're okay with suffering.
Yeah.
So if your biggest problem is you just can't make it outside to do anything, you could suffer through this podcast. You can get your ass off the couch, give it a shot, go out there and just walk your block. And the next week,
I'm not saying run
walk,
14 miles.
Yeah, walk your block.
Walk a mile.
Once a day for like a week. And then maybe up it to walk your block twice. And then just keep moving it up. You just,
miles.
And just keep being a dory, right? Just keep swimming. Just keep moving forward. That's all that matters. Oh, I thought Steve was telling us it's time to stop, but he's over there fanning the camera.
Equipment.
He really loves his equipment.
Yeah. I love you. Well, that's all I got. Anything else?
I think that's it, man. I think we're good. I think
All
we
right,
can move
Steve. Take us out of here.